We finally got our first look at Nintendo Switch 2, and alongside the reveal trailer we saw some first gameplay of a brand new Mario Kart game. This is kind of a big deal because we haven't seen a brand new Mario Kart game besides Mario Kart Tour and Mario Kart Live Home Circuit since 2014. We've really been playing 8 Deluxe for 8 years now. So given that this is a brand new game in the series, I thought it would be cool to go over 10 things that I want to see added. Am I expecting all of these to happen? Not really. But I try to keep my ideas realistic, so who knows. So if you're new here and want to support the channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, it really helps me out. I make Nintendo related videos and I'm going to be following the Switch 2 launch, so definitely keep an eye out for future videos. Alright, let's jump into it. So the first thing on my list, and it's pretty much what I think everybody thinks of first when it comes to Mario Kart, is the characters. And I think we should see a lot more new Mario characters here. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people that are against the guest characters like Link, Villager, or Inkling. I just think that over the last 40 years we've had so many Mario games with so many great characters, and half of them haven't been seen since their original debut. And I know there's people that are really into the idea of having the Mario spin-off characters come in, like Geno, Mallow, or even Prince Peasley. And I'm not necessarily referring to those guys, but they're welcome here too. I'm thinking more of maybe the deep cuts from Mario's history, like we saw Foreman Spike in the 2023 Mario movie, or maybe it's finally time for EGAD to get behind the wheel, mainly pulling from the Mario series and its close neighbors. I think Mario Kart Tour was taking a step in the right direction when they included Poochie from Yoshi's Island and even Dixie Kong. This will probably have the biggest roster in any Mario Kart game to date, so I think we can expect it to be pretty stacked. On somewhat of a similar note, the next item on my list are costumes. I think giving each character 1 or 2 extra alternates would be really cool. This should also kind of be a way to satisfy those who are a little annoyed by Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach being their own characters. This way they're still in the game. We already kinda see this in Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, but that was probably only there because you only had 2 characters to choose from. And who's to say these alts have to be specific to the character? Like I could see maybe we get a Boshi over Yoshi, just as an example, like not necessarily the same character, but close enough. You can unlock these by playing, or maybe in like an in-game shop, or in another idea that I had that I'll get to later. Next on the list, new items. Yeah, I know it's a given, but I'm feeling like maybe we've had some new games since 8 Deluxe that they can pull items from. One of the obvious examples I've seen is the Wonder Flower from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I guess this could be kind of like a disorienting item, and when you use it, maybe other people don't see the track correctly. If it's not going to be a full stage gimmick or game mechanic, I think this is how it would work. Another option I had for an item would be Cappy. Now originally I didn't know how this would work, so one of my ideas was you throw it at a racer in front of you, and then you'd be able to control them for a little bit, but I think to make it a little more manageable, you would still throw Cappy at a racer, but you would just swap places with them. It would stay balanced because you have to time it correctly and actually hit the person in front of you. It wouldn't just like hit whoever. And I know I've been referencing Mario Kart Tour a lot, but Nintendo clearly treated that like a Mario Kart 9, so I think they could pull a lot of new items from it, like the hammer, the super bell, and even the dash ring. Give each character their own chance to pull their own special item. This way you have another reason for selecting your racer. The mobile game was able to make it work, so I don't really see a reason why the new console game wouldn't be able to. Next on the list, I want to see some kind of story mode in Mario Kart. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, like I'll even take something bare bones like the one in Super Mario Maker 2 or even the sports games, but I want some kind of single player campaign that's not just running through every cup. My mind immediately goes to something like Diddy Kong Racing, you know, give us a hub world, and link all these courses together in a way. I can just imagine driving around, finding different collectibles while you're looking for the next course. Maybe Mario or whoever you're playing as is aiming to be the top racer in the world, so you're taking on all these different challenges and entering these different races. Ultimately, your goal is to come in first, and playing through the story mode could unlock you more cosmetics for multiplayer. Again, it doesn't have to be crazy. Nobody's really buying Mario Kart for the single player experience. At number 5 on my list, I have expanded race customization. It's already pretty good for what it is. Given that the trailer seems to hint we're going to get 24 racers, I can imagine we're going to need to change some more settings. Maybe instead of having a fixed number of racers, you can just pick the number. I really like how they ended up updating the item selection in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I'm sure something like that grid icon will stay. But I just feel like a little bit more in-depth to the settings, you know, control the speed, maybe control each individual CPU. Maybe you can pick more than 2 teams for team battle, or they can even add some kind of tiebreaker option if you pick an even number of races and 2 people happen to tie. We don't really know how this game is going to play, so I don't know what settings they would pick, but a little more depth could be pretty cool, and adding a little bit of personalization to every race. Next up, I want to see more dynamic tracks. Change up the layout every couple laps or so. We already saw this in some of the Mario Kart Tour tracks that were added to 8 Deluxe. And that one track we saw a glimpse of in the first trailer looks huge, so I'm sure there's going to be branching paths. I think they could take this a step further and maybe they have some kind of Super Smash Bros. Style customization, where maybe you can turn some hazards off. And instead of like Final Destination or Battlefield forms, maybe we see like a standard circuit track, but it can be themed based on each one of the new courses. Just as a little bonus to throw in here, I'm kind of hoping some people from Bandai Namco's team are working on this game, just because it would be cool to see those arcade tracks and maybe even Pac-Man as a playable character here. But also I realize asking for that is more of a Mario Kart Ultimate question rather than just a new entry. And while we're on the subject, of older Mario Kart influence, I want to see a Double Dash mode. I have waited far too long for the return of 2 people in 1 kart, and given that we're going to see at least 24 racers out there at once, there's more than enough characters to make this happen. Some of my best Mario Kart memories are when I was playing Double Dash as a child, and even recently when you have 4 people playing on 1 console, 2 people are driving and 2 people are controlling the items, and just being able to switch that at will. It is so much fun that I'm surprised that Double Dash never once came back. And just imagine the combinations too. If we're gonna have this stacked roster, like you can have anybody together. This mechanic is literally why Double Dash is still in my top 3 Mario Karts to this day. I know it's a long shot and I'm definitely not expecting it to be available everywhere in the game, but at least just some kind of Double Dash mode would be enough. Another returning feature I'd love to see in this new entry is Mission Mode for Mario Kart DS. Now there were plans to bring this back in Mario Kart Wii, and they didn't, but I still think it could happen. Now I don't know if they would do a Story Mode and Mission Mode, as Story Mode would probably just be made up of missions, but I would love to see Mission Mode actually come back. The missions were pretty cool. It was things like driving through gates, getting coins, destroying item boxes. There were even some boss fights too, I remember. It was a fun little side mode that wasn't just racing and battles, and it adds a lot of replayability to it, and just seeing these come back would be pretty fun. Another feature I'd want to see come back are the online tournaments from Mario Kart Wii. Now I was just a kid when Mario Kart Wii was still big, even before Nintendo Wi-Fi had shut down, but I kind of remember this. I specifically remember there was a challenge where you had to fight one of the top enemies from Super Mario Galaxy, and I would just love to see something like this come back, you know, like a weekly tournament where you and a bunch of other players are taking on different challenges and just trying to find a spot on the leaderboard. And one of the last things I want to see added to this new Mario Kart is some kind of seasonal mechanic. Now I'm basing this off of what Nintendo's already done for Nintendo Switch Sports and Splatoon 3, but almost kind of like a season pass, a battle pass if you will. Now the thing is, these items will come back, they'll be on a permanent rotation, just because it's not really how Nintendo operates to do limited time cosmetics. But I think an incentive to keep players coming back is just what Mario Kart needs to stay fresh. I mean, if I'm willing to come back to Switch Sports every week, I'm surely gonna come back to Mario Kart if there's some kind of cosmetic for me. This could even be based around like new releases like they do with Super Mario Run, or just around the time of year. Maybe we'll see a Santa Mario costume added around Christmas time. There's no reason this stuff should stay exclusive, so if it's consistent and rotates weekly, monthly, or even annually, there's no fear of FOMO. So those are some of the features I'd love to see added to this new Mario Kart game. I don't think we're really going to know until the April 2nd Direct, but for now it's cool to speculate. I wonder if any of this is going to be right. I know my Switch reveal trailer absolutely was not right at all. But what do you guys want to see added to Mario Kart? Let me know down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, also let me know. But in the meantime, that's all I got for today, and I'll see you guys later.